What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show, DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders, talking another week of daily fantasy golf here with you. I am Justin Van Zuiden, STL Cardinals 84. I've got Mr. Notorious, Derek Farnsworth alongside as well. And Noto, that was quite the event that we had there last week, and pretty much about as much drama as you could script on a Sunday with, when guys are kind of going for three meaningful spots there at the end.
Incredible event. Kind of goes to show that you don't need a $20 million prize for golf to be meaningful. Awesome Sunday. Can't believe Rahm, kind of falling apart there. And man, Scheffler, when he gets locked in, it feels like nobody can catch him. So I think he was down 6 with 7 holes to go, something like that. So pretty impressive. Classic Tommy taking home silver. We all should have saw that one coming.
Yeah, I mean, what I didn't see coming was the comeback from Scheffler. Despite how good he is, being able to come back from that deficit with the caliber of players that he had to overcome. We talked last week of who will you be rooting for with your heart. Obviously, I had kind of mentioned Rahm in that mix. Would have been nice to see him get into some of those big events going forward. We know that's been kind of a point of contention for him ever since he went to live, but didn't end up holding it on Sunday there. I'm sure he felt a little bit of pressure, and somebody had we forgot about this last week. We talked about it afterwards. Somebody had mentioned the Koreans, if they got a medal, getting out of the mandatory military service, and we've seen guys like Sang-Moon Bae, I think, was kind of at the height of his career, had to do that military service, never really came back with the same kind of sharpness after that. And Tom Kim is still, really young. He's got a few more chances, and the Asian Games, you can also qualify if you get a medal there. So, but somebody had commented on the YouTube stream last week, don't forget the narrative about if Tom Kim or Benny An, if they win a medal. And Tom Kim had a legitimate shot there going into the back nine on Sunday, and they showed him, as I think he was actually paired with Scheffler. They showed him, getting a little emotional in the scoring tent afterwards. So clearly that means a little something to those guys. And so I was kind of rooting for him to get the job done too.
Yeah, I was too. It was definitely cool seeing the emotion from him afterwards. But yeah, he's got 14 more years to get a medal in the Asian Games, so hopefully he can get it done. We saw, was it Siwoo and Sungjae win gold the last one. So hoping him and Benny An can both get it done because, like you mentioned with Sang-Moon Bae, that really derailed his career. We've seen him play a little bit since then, but he's never been the same.
Yeah, never been the same since then. So. It's just hard to come back with that same kind of form if you miss an extended period of time. But in any case, it was a real fun finish to that event. The course was a lot more scoreable. I didn't expect it to be play quite as easy as it did, but weather was pretty good. Victor Perez, another story, almost backdooring a medal himself on Sunday in front of the home crowd. So just a lot of fun storylines, and it's a shame we don't get to see all these guys playing together more often than just 4, 5, 6 times a year, and hopefully they can rectify that in the long run. But it goes to show that it's not prize money sometimes isn't everything, and these guys were certainly playing for pride last week, and it was a fun event. So. This week, though, we've got to switch gears. We've got to come back. We've got the last event before the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it is, of course, taking place in an area that is about to get hit by the remnants of Hurricane Debbie. So right now, like Wednesday evening through Friday, almost seems like a complete washout in North Carolina this week, and this is the last event before the playoffs, so it's not like they can just scrap it. They certainly probably don't want to shorten it either. And we all know that the PGA Tour does not have the best track record in terms of how to handle the weather. So, I mean, it's nothing really that we're going to be able to figure out right now. And I know they'll try to play through rain, but that course is just going to be so waterlogged if the forecasts are accurate. It seems possible that we might not be seeing any golf until Saturday this week.
Yeah, Mike Campbell in the chat is what I thought. We've been having an event this week. Thursday, Friday looked like a washout to me. I'm obviously not a meteorologist, but it doesn't look great. And I mean, even if they start Saturday, are we just looking at a 54-hole event, or are they going to try to get 36 in on Monday? Because you can't imagine they get more than just the 18 on both.
They wouldn't want to do it past Monday, you wouldn't think. So if they did round 1 on Saturday, round 2 on Sunday, you can't do more than 1 round a day to start out because you got the full field.
Yeah.
And then you could potentially do split tees on Monday and do 36, which it would seem like, they might want to lean towards that. And right now it looks Saturday's clear, Sunday's clear, and Monday's clear. But Thursday, again, and this is just the old weather.com forecast. So I'm no meteorologist Kevin Roth here, but Thursday during the day, it says 1 to 2 inches of rain. Thursday at night, 1 to 2 inches of rain. Friday during the day, 1 inch of rain. So you're looking at 5-6 inches of rain in a 48-hour period. There's flood watches out. It just seems like it's looking unlikely for Thursday or Friday. Again, you'd think the PGA Tour would get out ahead of this and come out with a plan. I mean, it's like a 99% chance of rain. It's not like it's not going to rain at all. So maybe we'll get a plan. If we don't get a plan, I still think it's smart if you're building a bunch of lineups this week to try to stack some guys on each side. You never know if they're going to just try to decide to play through something the first couple of days, and maybe you get an edge somewhere. But it's just going to be super hard to predict until we get some news from the PGA Tour. So anything else on the logistics, weather angle front before we dive in?
Not really. Rob does say they might be able to play a little bit Thursday morning, so maybe that'll help. Maybe late Friday.
Does he have his forecast out already? He does.
Yeah, it's just called How Tropical Storm Debbie Could Impact the Wyndham Championship. So you guys want to check that out?
Thursday AM, Debbie impacts will be increasing throughout the day. There's a chance they don't even attempt to golf, but if they do, the morning is slightly better than the afternoon. Thursday afternoon, heavy flooding rains. Friday morning, still in the core of the storm. Friday afternoon, scattered showers and storms. It says, I think there's a decent chance they decide not to play Thursday or Friday for potential flooding and safety reasons. So obviously, if there is golf on Thursday or Friday, it seems like it's going to be impacted at some point. So check out Ross' forecast. Weekend certainly looking better. All right. Why don't you talk about what we have for a course this week when they do eventually get to play?
Because we got Sedgefield Country Club. It's par 70, 7,131 yards. Historically, driving accuracy has been much more important than driving distance here. Very narrow fairways. A lot of guys end up clubbing down off the tee. And assuming, all this water comes through, you got to think they're going to play live clean in place, at least for a couple of the rounds. So that'll just increase the importance of driving accuracy because you'll be able to clean your ball, place it in the fairway. So definitely looking at guys that hit a lot of fairways. The greens here, they're Bermuda. They're pretty large in size, very easy to hit on average. I think last year, 72% green regulation rate, which is well above tour average. And that's probably going to be even higher if the course is soft. The winning score is typically 20 under or better. Again, probably going to be 24, 25 under in these conditions if they do get 72 holes in. And it's just one of those courses where pretty much anyone can contend. I mean, Webb Simpson, Billy Horschel, have the best course history here. We've seen CT Pan play really well here. So you don't have to be, a long hitter by any means. Just kind of keep it in the fairway, be good on approach, and make a lot of putts, which is typically what we see on these par 70 birdie fests. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be some scoring, especially if it's soft. And so birdie or better percentage. I like looking at par 4 scoring this week. We've got a couple extra ones. Guys in good form. People will try to play up the narrative of what do you do with guys that are right around. So the top 70 after this week will make the playoffs. So what do you do with guys that are maybe just below 70 or just above 70? Noto's been of the opinion here some of the last few weeks when we've talked about it. And I tend to agree that playing under pressure doesn't necessarily equate to playing better.
Doesn't help me.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you're motivated and you want to do well, but you'd like to think that most guys want to do well every time they go out there. And so, when you're under pressure, there can be an argument that it hurts you. So maybe some guys thrive under it, but trying to quantify that is a little bit difficult. So just going with guys that tend to be coming in playing well. Seems to make the most sense. But for what it's worth, almost everyone between like 50th and 90th in the standings is in the field this week. So we've got a huge kind of mid-tier because those are all the golfers that are prioritized to play this week. All the guys at the very top, especially if they played last week overseas, a lot of those guys aren't playing. A lot of the guys in the middle are the ones that are, at the top of this field. So that's what you get for a field this week. I think it's certainly a super intriguing storyline, especially when you throw the weather into the mix, and it's just going to be a little bit of chaos here this week, I think, particularly if we don't get news from the tour before Thursday. So, all right, go ahead.
Our boy Dan Kramer is in the chat, said he's in Hilton Head right now, and their course is completely underwater. They just got hit with it, so yeah, we might not get a lot of golf, but hopefully we get at least 3 rounds.
Yeah, you got to think that, and I haven't checked the DFS rules in a while, but I think it has to be at least 3 rounds to count. I could be making that up, though. It just feels like I remember seeing that somewhere. Don't take that as gospel. I did not look that up before. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about that. But in any case, let's go ahead and dig in. Assuming we get some golf this week, let's assume we get 3 or 4 rounds of golf. We'll hope for that. We don't necessarily have an elite pricing tier. Again, a lot of the top-end guys are taking the week off. If you're already secured in the playoff spot, really no incentive to play this week. So we've only got 4 golfers above 10K, and the highest is at 10.7, with Sung Jae Im at 10.7, Lowry at 10.3, Horschel at 10.2, and Siwoo Kim at 10K. And again, I mentioned it's going to be a pretty jumbled mid-range this week, which makes this interesting because the top guys are going to feel overpriced. Outside of Sung Jae right now, I just pulled up DraftKings. Nobody else is better than 22-1 to win the tournament right now. So it's all wide open, which is going to lead me to say that, to me, you're either playing Sung Jae at 10.7 or you're skipping down. But that's obviously with my bias that, Horschel's got great course history here, and I'm not going to want to play him at 10.2. I'll let you talk about Horschel, but to me, Sung Jae at 10.7 is the clear top play, and if you're not playing him, you're going down into the 9s. But what are you doing with the top range?
Yeah, I agree with you for the most part, especially if you're building 1 or 2 lineups. I think you start with Sung Jae. Right now, we have him at lower ownership than Shane Lowry. I don't think that'll end up being the case. I think everyone's going to play Sung Jae if they are spending up. T12 or better in 8 of his last 10 starts, plus 15 strokes gained approach in his last 4 starts. The course history is great, 5 for 5, 3 top 10s, nothing worse than T24. So he checks all the boxes this week. Lowry's been playing better. But man, paying 10K for Lowry just never feels right, especially when the putter can go ice cold. You just never know what to expect there. I do like Horschel in tournaments. He's a guy that tends to be streaky. I'm glad he withdrew from the 3M. I think I gave him a couple extra weeks to, rest a little bit. He's also got elite course history, T11 or better in 5 of his last 7 starts. And yeah, I mean, if you look at his last 10 outings, he's got 4 top 10s and a win. So form's there, the course history's there. He's probably going to be the lowest owned of these 4. So I like him in tournaments, but Sung Jae is the guy to start with in single entry and cash games for sure.
Yeah, you say it feels weird to pay 10.3 for Lowry. I can say it feels weird to pay 10.2 for Horschel. So
as does Mike in the chat.
Agreed. But I will totally admit my anti-Horschel bias. That is, you don't want to take me don't take me as gospel on Horschel, and don't take me as gospel on Spieth, though the anti-Spieth sentiment has largely worked out for the better part of multiple seasons now. With Horschel, it kind of hasn't lately. So I fully admit my own personal anti-Billy vendetta in there. All right, so let's say you're skipping that range. We both agree Sung Jae is probably the top guy, but certainly you can skip that range. There's a whole lot of guys in like that 30-1 range to win the tournament. Not that much worse odds than 10K guys, and there's a whole bunch of them in the 9Ks. So we've got Cam Young there. We've got Spieth. We've got your boy Brian Harmon, Davis Thompson, fresh off a win at the John Deere a few weeks ago. Akshay, Minwoo Lee in the 9Ks as well. You got a favorite in that group?
I got a lot of least favorites in this group. Cam Young, Minwoo Lee just doesn't feel like the best course for them. They're both like bombers that a lot of drivers, and you don't really need that on this course. Spieth has one top 20 in his last 16 starts. Why is he 9,500? I don't know. It's not like his odds are that good. He's 40-1, which is the same as most of the guys in the 8s.
And that's probably the 40-1 is also probably inflated because he tends to be a public bet.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't say that's the true odds. I'd say the true odds are probably worse than that, but people are going to bet him anyway, so they just kind of inflate him a little bit. That's anecdotal, but
yeah, he's 39th in my model this week. I don't make any adjustments to it. It's just all number based, and the model does not like speed whatsoever. I do like Brian Harman at 9,300. Feels like a Harman course, par 70, accuracy, short game, and the irons have been pretty good lately. He's gained at least 5 strokes on approach in 5 of his last 14. So he's showing spike weeks with the irons. Everything else is kind of always good. He's really the only guy that I'm interested in here in the 9s.
Yeah, I don't mind Harman. I like Davis Thompson a good bit here this week. I think, I'm not going to hold he didn't play well at the Scottish. He didn't play well at the Open Championship, but he's not really built like a Lynx guy. If you take those performances out of the equation, he won the John Deere, 2nd at the Rocket Mortgage, 9th at the U.S. Open. He's kind of mid-20s, I think, in terms of the playoff standings right now. So he's had a really good year. I'm a Thompson fan. So if the recent form kind of with the Lynx events lowers his ownership just a little bit, I'm fine with that. So Harman, Thompson, Cam Young would kind of be a risk reward GPP flyer kind of guy. Probably like him a little bit better than Noto does, but not a flag plant on him by any means. Thompson will probably be the guy in this range that I have the most exposure to. And you can absolutely just maybe start your lineups with one of those guys and then and start kind of loading up in the 8s with the mid-range build. Cam Davis has been playing better of late. Aaron Rye has kind of been super chalky for the last couple of months. That will probably continue again with him being priced as like the 15th best option or whatever he is there in the 8Ks. Seabez, again, another guy that's been playing pretty good golf. Clanton, the amateur that's come on strong over the summer here. You got Keegan, Dietrich, Bobby Mack, recent winner, Højgaard, McNeely, English, Vegas, all these guys in the 8Ks where you can make a pretty good looking balanced build relative to the strength of this field. So I think Rye is probably going to be the most popular. I think some of these other guys are interesting for GPPs as well. What are you looking at in the 8s?
I was going to ask if you think the travel narrative coming over from, the Olympics is going to hinder any of these guys, but they're probably going to get an extra couple of days of rest anyway.
Right. Yeah. If they're not starting until Saturday, they'll be all right.
But yeah, I like Seabez. Pretty solid finish last week. T16. He's 3 for 3 here. One of those guys that the driver is his biggest weakness. So to get him on a shorter course, I think that helps him. Aaron Rye, man, 5th in driving accuracy in this field, 5th in stroke gain approach, and then like the last 2 months he's been on fire with the putter. So I get why everyone wants to play him at 8,800. I think he could be, change places with Spieth or any of the guys in the 9Ks, and he'd still be pretty popular. Cam Davis doesn't project that well for me, but he just plays the same course as well every year. This is one of them. He's 3 for 3 here, all top 25 finishes. So I'll play some Cam Davis. Not as much interest in the lower 8s, but McNeely's coming off of a 3rd place finish at the 3M. I could play some of him. I never know what to do with Bobby Mack. It's hard for me to see him winning 3 times in a year, but I mean, he's been, a lot of upside. So if you want to look his way in tournaments, I guess I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I don't have a strong take on him this week either. I'm a Bobby Mack fan, but I don't think he's either super great or terrible this week at that price. McNeely would be the other guy that I think, in addition to the guys that you mentioned, that I'll play. Cam Davis is the guy I wrote up in my GPP article for basically the reasons that you mentioned. And I think, again, making some balanced builds where you start with, say, Cam Davis and Aaron Rye, or maybe one guy in the 9s, maybe get McNeely in there. I think those make a lot of sense this week. Anything else on the 8s that what about Harris English? I've seen a little bit of love for him this week, but kind of like Spieth, there just hasn't been his last top 20 was the PGA, so I'm not super interested there.
Yeah, I want to see a little bit from the ball striking. It just hasn't been good. like the putter carries him so much that it's hard for me to trust him. But this is a course where the putter can carry you, I guess.
All right, so moving to the upper part of the 7Ks, this is where we start to get a lot of guys that are kind of on the bubble for the playoff. Kitayama is right on the bubble. I know Keith Mitchell is right on the bubble. There's a few others in here. That was just a few that I noticed right off the top. And you got a lot of guys that tend to play a little more often on these southeastern type of courses. Mitchell's one of them. Poston, though with the rain, who knows how that changes things up this week. But Kitayama is certainly one of my favorites. 6th at the 3M. Overall numbers have been much better of late. I just think that with him kind of on the bubble of that playoff and playing better, trending better, not just that he's on the bubble of the playoff, but I like the trends. Think the overall stats are fine. I like him at 7,900 this week, going all the way down into kind of the mid part of the 7Ks. We've got Yeager, McCarthy, Zalatoris, Eric Cole, Justin Rose in here. Who's standing out for you?
Man, if Keith Mitchell and JT Poston could combine stats, they would be a great golfer. Mitchell's like the best ball striker in the field. Poston's one of the better short game guys. And but yeah, right now Poston's ball striking is ugly. Mitchell can't make a putt. He can't chip. So I don't feel great about either of them. I do like Eric Cole. He was everyone's favorite for like 8 months in a row, and then he just hit this cold streak. But last 4 events, 6th, 7th, 46th, 31st. He was T14 here last year. He tends to play better on these shorter courses where you can make a lot of birdies. So I like him at 77. I like Denny McCarthy at 75. He typically plays these shorter courses well too. Very good putter. 3 top 25s here as well. And I don't know, maybe a little Taylor Moore at 7,500. He had that long make cut streak at the earlier part of the season, but they struggled lately, but played well at the 3M. A couple good finishes at this event in the past. Those are probably my favorite 3. Do you have anybody else there?
Yeah, I don't mind the Moore call. Nick Dunlap is a guy I really like in tournaments. He's kind of been a boomer bust guy all year. He's on the kind of the border of the play. I think he's in the 60s right now, but he's got 2 wins this year. He won the Amex at the beginning of the year, won the Barracuda, the alternate event a few weeks back. 10th at the Rocket Mortgage, and then also has some missed cuts littered in there. So, just a kind of a volatile guy that I think could be worth a look in GPPs with the limited upside on the top part of this field. So Dunlap I like the Cole call. I think we're pretty much through the mid 7s there. Kitayama I already mentioned. So then there's a slew of names priced between like 71 and 7,400. There's just a lot of guys in here. Not that I have to try to mention them all, but Griffin has kind of been priced at like these guys don't even feel that overpriced just because the mid range is so deep this week. Svensson, Griffin, Doug Gim, Glover didn't play well over in Scotland, but otherwise have been playing well. Perez, who we just talked about, kind of backdoored that 4th place finish with a huge 63 on Sunday. I believe he'd be the last guy in the FedEx Cup playoff if they started right now. I think he's 71st, but he'll pass Grayson Murray, who's still kind of just above that and obviously won't be competing. So Perez, I like at 7,200. Obviously going to have some momentum after last week. Webb Simpson is the ultimate test of how much you're valuing course history. Named his daughter after this tournament, if you haven't heard that already. But there's a ton of names in here that can kind of help round out those builds. So who are you liking in the lower 7s?
Yeah, Webb's interesting. I don't think I'll play him, but he did finish 5th here last year when he was in similarly bad form. So
that was his last top 20 finish.
I can imagine, yeah. Doesn't look like he's played in like 6 weeks too. So maybe he's just been gearing up for this one event to get him into the playoffs.
He's been practicing every day.
I like Doug Gim, top 10 in the field in accuracy and approach. So you're getting a really good ball striker at 7,300. I like Mackenzie Hughes a little bit just because he can light it up on the greens. Don't mind the Perez call by you. Andrew Novak's been playing pretty well. 7,100. That's a good price point for him. You mentioned Ben Griffin. I think he makes a lot of sense anytime you get him on these shorter courses. We've seen him play really well in Florida, similar Bermuda grass greens here. And that's pretty much it for me. Maybe Mark Hubbard. I always like Mark Hubbard on these types of courses.
Man, it goes to show you that Hubbard, the season that he's had, I mean, he missed the cut at the Scottish. That's his only miscut of the season, but yet he's not guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. He made 18 cuts in a row, but not guaranteed a spot in the playoffs because he's had like one top 15 finish all year. And we talked about all those backdoor made cuts that he had. I mean, it was crazy.
It's one of those guys that you feel good about after Friday because he makes a cut, but then he just doesn't do anything on the weekend.
Adds nothing to it. So yeah, if you want somebody relatively safe, he's probably good. The volatile guys, we mentioned quite a few there. You maybe throw CT Pan into that mix as well. I think that's about it for me as we get through the sevens. Going down in the sixes, there's probably not a huge reason to have to go down in here because there's so many guys between 7K and 7,500 that make sense as values that I'm just going to kind of mix and match in there. As you get down into the sixes, maybe somebody like Ben Silverman makes sense. He's made 7 cuts in a row, it looks like. So he's probably my pick at 6,900. But other than that, there's not a whole lot in the sixes that I like. Anything standing out for you?
Yeah, I was going to bring up Silverman too. Projects the best for me. Chan Kim is a guy that makes a ton of birdies. So you look at him in a birdie fest. Outside of that, I don't really love anyone else. And good point on not having to go down here with the most expensive guy being Sung Jae at 10-7. 2 more guys at 7K flat that I don't mind. Brendan Todd, Andrew Putnam. They're like the same player pretty much. They hit fairways, make putts. I think it's a good course setup for them. So I'll probably play them and kind of cut off my player pool after Silverman.
Yeah, I'm kind of scrolling all the way down to the bottom, and I guess, there's just no reason to do it. I mean, you just got so many inconsistent guys. Like there's guys that maybe occasionally show some upside, like a Davis Riley or a Neesmith, but we just haven't seen a whole lot from those guys this year. I've played Chandler Phillips a good bit recently, but he's missed the cut his last 2 starts. So not a whole lot for me once we get past Silverman as well. And again, if you're just tuning in, keep an eye on the forecast. Weather seems like something of a washout maybe the first couple of days. So if we get an update before Thursday, you can check our PGA weather page. That's very easy. You can just access it from the DFS drop down on the RotoGrinders home screen. And otherwise, rotogrinders.com/weather/PGA will get you directly there. And you can follow Roth on Twitter at Kevin Roth WX. So that's the weather plug for this week. And as usual, we will close out the show with a snake draft. That's probably why Dan Kramer's waiting around. So he's going to want to maybe try to take some of our money this week. I finished third, I think, each of the last 3 weeks, something like that. But Noto took the last cash spot last week with a 554 score. But Braswell 1989 was one of the more dominant performances. You'll see first, third, fourth, 8th, and 18th all on his roster. So he had 5 of the top 20 and pretty much ran away with the snake draft last week. So a pretty deserving winner there. So kudos to him. And if you don't want to stick around and check out the snake draft, we'll be back at you next week for the start of the FedEx Cup playoffs with the St. Jude. Make sure to hit a thumbs up on the video on YouTube if you like our content. We appreciate that very much. And you can feel free to hop off if you're not going to be a part of the snake draft or you don't want to listen to us chat about it. But for those of you that are interested in the snake draft or want to partake, let's see if we can get one fired up here, and then I will share my screen. Okay. There's a 5-man or a 6-man that was 0 of 6 and now is 1 of 6, but it was 0 when I looked at it. So I'm going to hope that it's somebody that's watching.
That was me.
Oh, it was you. You were the first man in. All right. So we got 2 in the snake draft, 4 spots open for those of you that are watching. If you're watching along with us and we do this live, they go pretty quick. So check it out. Hop in. $5 on DraftKings. go to the snake draft, filter by golf, and go to snake draft. Find the $5 contest. We'll throw the link. Noto usually throws the link in the chat, and I'm going to post a tweet as well. All right, we're at 4 of 6. Hopefully we'll get a couple more here quick. Hard to believe that the summer has escaped already. It was like 93 degrees here yesterday, and it's about 71 today, so it feels like fall. All of a sudden, just boom.
Yeah, it feels like the first couple months went by slow, and then the first month went by slow. The last 6 weeks been real fast. When do your kids go back to school?
A week from Thursday, so that's coming right up. I think we're a little earlier than most.
I feel like it gets earlier every year.
Yeah. All right, one more soul to come take some cash, free money. I'm guaranteed to finish in third place, so come get some. I'm paying the rake.
All right, we're filled. Dan's in snake draft.
Dan, we got Tug Rules, D Rich, and JR Smitty. It's the OGs of the snake draft here this week. So
awesome. New RG logo looks pretty good. Card.
That's right. I only had to show my address and my phone number live on stream to get it switched. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen now. We'll get this rolling here in about a minute. I don't think we won't have any pokey members, so this will go by pretty quick. All right. So I'm picking last. Looks like Noto's picking second. So second pick. You're going to be forced to take Billy Horschel, number 2.
I know. I'm going to do that or go Harmon. I might go Harmon.
I don't mind picking at the back this week. Be just fine.
How are the Cardinals looking?
They hit a skid at the wrong time. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Cubs over the weekend. Got shut out yesterday in a makeup game against the Mets. They lose tonight, they're all the way back down to 500. So I think Fangraphs had them at about a 13% playoff odds. They're like 4 back in the wild card and 6 back in the division right now. So it's not looking good, but be rooting for the Ravens here before long anyways. Oh, yeah. Switch gears to football. That's okay. They don't think they have the horses to go anywhere in the playoffs if they get there anyway.
All right, I'm reaching for Harmon.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Sung Jae Woo and Akshay third. This is going off the rails.
Nobody wants Lowry. Wow.
Okay, I got it. I got to take Lowry at 6, right?
Yeah.
Lowry at 6, and then I like Thompson, so I'll take him. I don't have a bold take on Lowry this week other than he just fell to 6, so.
Dan starts with Siwoo and Rye. Pretty solid.
Yeah, I was planning on taking Rye and Thompson and at first. So
I don't love Cam Young, but he can get me in the top 10 maybe. Or be my bench guy.
There you go. That was in the plan all along, and just him being the bench guy.
Wonder how far Speed is going to drop.
All right, I took Lowry when he fell to me at 6, but I think I can do that with Spieth. It's just somebody's going to make me prove it.
Surprised his ADP is 10.4 so far.
Dan, don't take Spieth because you can get him 2 picks from now. Dan knows. Dan's been watching us for a long time. He knows he's not taking Spieth here.
Don't fall for that trick, Dan. Justin Monson.
Oh, no, man. I don't. This is wild, though. It's just unexpected. But all right, I'll go with Bobby Mack. I think he's fine in this format. And then I wrote up Kitayama this week as well. So. Spieth falling all the way down to at least 20. But you said he was, what, 37 in your model?
Yeah.
So you can, if he falls to the last round, he'll be a value.
Ooh, Jäger going off the board.
And look at this pace. I love the pace. There's no.
Yeah, we do a 12-man, 5 minutes.
12-man would get pretty rough at the bottom.
Maybe Spieth would get picked in the 12-man.
12-man, Spieth gets taken. Wow, is Spieth still going to be there at 30?
Man, I wish Notorious was healthy and better.
There goes Spieth. Somebody finally took the bait. Doug Gim. All right, I'll go with Dunlap, and I'll go with McCarthy. Cruising through round number 6 here already. So does the expansion hockey franchise out in Utah, does that start this year already?
I want to say yes. I haven't paid too close of attention to it, but people are excited for sure.
The Utah Hockey Club. I voted in something to help choose the name. They had like a pick your top 3 or whatever. I have no affiliation, but I voted.
What would you vote for?
I don't remember. That was a couple months ago.
Yeti?
Because there was a big discussion because there was names like Utah Frost and Utah Blizzard, and people were arguing that it was too close to Avalanche. I thought some of the names were pretty cool. I think I voted for them anyways. Can't tell me what to vote for. It's not even my team, but I'm going to vote anyway. All right. Wrapping things up here. Kevin Kisner. Where did that come from? Somebody took Kisner. That's not a name I would have expected to see. Probably not a name I would have expected to see in a 12-man.
He made the cut his last time out. 2 in a row.
Oh, that's why then.
He's back.
First 2 of the year. All right, we're done. I can't. I've finished 3rd like 4 weeks in a row. I can't yell at anybody. What am I doing? Harmon, Cam Young, Seabez, English, Cole, Griffin, and Mackenzie Hughes for Noto, Lowry, Davis Thompson, Bobby Mack, Kitayama, Dunlap, McCarthy, and Taylor Moore for B. And with that, we're done for the week, and we will be back for the first event of the playoffs next week. So thanks as always for joining. Thanks to Steve for producing, working hard behind the scenes for us. Thanks to Noto as well. And I am Justin. We'll catch you back here next week, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you later.